Hi, I'm Alison from Bagledge Bird Learn to Sew. Today I'm going to be showing you how to sew buttonholes with the Janome 725S Sewist Sewing Machine. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing to do when sewing buttonholes is to insert your button in the buttonhole foot. This is if you've got a one-step buttonhole. These little gauges help or set the size of the buttonhole, which is why I said you only need to mark one end of the buttonhole if you have a one-step buttonhole on your machine. So there's a little lever here on these machines. This comes down, it sits between the two bits of plastic that are sticking out, and that is how the button gauges the right length. So now you just want to get this top thread to sit underneath the machine. So just turn your hand wheel top towards you, one full revolution, and swipe something underneath, pull your threads out. So they're now both coming from below the foot. So I'll just spin you around and raise you up to show you the settings here. So we've got this top dial on buttonhole. You need to click reset between each buttonhole, and I've got the stitch length between 0 and 1 where it's got that buttonhole symbol, and you can adjust that length dependent on your buttonhole requirements. So I am going to test my buttonholes first of all using some fabric that is similar and has a similar number of layers to what I have in my actual pyjamas. So we've got the piping on here, we've got 2 layers of fabric. The only thing I'm missing is 1 layer of interfacing. So you may want to test it on that, because these automatic buttonholes can be kind of sensitive when you are sewing it. So if you are unsure, make sure you have exactly the same number of layers as you test it, and make sure when you're testing it you make a note of which direction your buttonhole foot goes, whether it does goes forward or backwards. So these ones I know start at this end, they go that way, do the bar tack at the far end, and then come back and do the second side, finishing at the bar tack at the end. So I just want to line this up so that I have my little T lined up with, so it wants to be lined up with the centre of the buttonhole foot, which is here. So I can kind of get a ruler and check my positioning, that I've lined my T up right, and when I bring my needle down, it goes into either side of the crossbar on the T. Okay, so now foot on the pedal, and this should automatically sew the buttonhole. There we go, up one side, down the other, and then when you get to the end, a few stitches in place, and there we go, we have our buttonhole. So now to cut the buttonhole, slice the buttonhole, you want to put a pin through one end, through each end even. So a pin will stop you going through the stitches with your stitch ripper, and so we've got a pin through either end. Okay, so we've got the point of the seam ripper or the unpicker, and you want to just slice up one way slice down the other. The pins stop you going through your bar tacks. You'll also want to get a needle and thread these long thread tails through to the back and knot them off. Keep your work nice and neat. Stop your buttonholes from unravelling. And I'm just going to test the size of this buttonhole there. Check it works for the buttons, as it does. Okay, so I've moved the camera position, so hopefully you can see this a little bit closer. Bar tack, left hand side. Bar tack at the far end. And then we're coming down the right hand side and a few stitches over the bar tack. There we go. So I'm going to do I just want to show you how I tie off the ends of the buttonhole. So just with the needle, threading the needle through, poking the needle through and pulling the thread through to the reverse, and then knotting together with the bobbin thread underneath. A couple of knots, 2 or 3, and then you can cut those threads off short. Noticed as I've been slicing the buttonhole that on the one that I demonstrated to you, instead of pulling the threads through to the wrong side, I have pulled them through to the right side. So I have got 2 little knots here on my front of my buttonhole. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel for more great Learn to Sew videos that will help make you a better dressmaker.